All good. Yep.
Right, George Rose, next fight night's been announced. Dylan Biggs in there, Ryan Mitchem, mate. Tell us about this fight.
Yeah, look, exciting fight. No limit on Fox. It's proved to be everything that we've been hoping that it would be in getting the opportunity to showcase young talent that's coming through. And Dylan Biggs is the youngest Australian champion out there at the moment. So undefeated guy up against Ryan Mitchem in a very tough fight. But it's an opportunity for him that if he gets to win, you know, the talk's out there with Nikita Tszyu. So we'll be looking for him to put on a big performance and make a statement on our No Limit on Fox show and go through to, you know, an even bigger fight.
For those who may not know much about Dylan Biggs, what does he sort of bring to the ring? Young,
hungry and powerful. They're probably the three things that I could say about him is, mate, he's got serious knockout power and he's got that come forward aggressive style that young guys have, you know, when you see them get hit and they just want to get in and mix it, but exactly what you see with Nikita Tszyu. So, you know, them sort of guys, they're entertaining fighters, they're guys that you want to see fighting, and Dylan Biggs is as hungry as they come. He wants to get amongst it, he wants to challenge himself. The fact that he's an Australian champ already shows his capability at this level. So, you know, he deserves a Fox headline spot, and we're going to get to see how he handles the limelight and how he performs on the big stage. Sort of
the plan, I guess, to put him out the front of audiences and sort of work towards that fight with Nikita?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think when you're the Australian champion, you know you should be at that level anyway. You know, you should be out there headlining shows and showcasing your talent. And that's what we want to do. We want people to get to see what Dylan Biggs is all about. You know, there's so much hype around him in boxing circles, and let's let the public see what the hype is about and why they should be watching out for this guy, because he's coming for Nikita Tszyu's head, and you know, he's got to get through this fight first, obviously, but he's the guy who really wants him.
And they had that confrontation. It was a polite confrontation. It wasn't much. There was a polite confrontation. He sort of congratulated Nikita on his win. What did you make of that sort of dynamic there?
Yeah, look, I think any confrontation with Nikita always ends up being a polite confrontation. We saw that with, you know, with the Brubaker fight. Brubaker was coming at him, and the conversations that they had and the banter that they had, it's very different to what we usually see in boxing. And I think for anyone who ever does fight Nikita, you could try to hate him as much as you like. He's just he's a nice guy until he flicks the switch, and he doesn't flick that switch until fight day, until weigh-in's done, and that's the guy that you worry about. But up until then, he's always going to be a nice guy. But I love that they had that confrontation. I love that they had that conversation, because it makes it a lot easier for us to put the fight on together too, knowing that these two young fighters want a piece of each other. They don't take backward steps. They're both absolutely confident in their ability, and you know, that's what I want to see. You know, I want to see these young hungry fighters getting amongst it and putting everything on the line.
Nikita had that win against Jack Brubaker a couple of weeks ago now. How do you sort of look back on that night?
Great night. Yeah, one of my favourite nights, I think, that we've had this year. I think every fight really, you know, really lived up to everything that we'd hoped for. Some of them, you know, even better than we'd expected. So I can't fault the night that we had there. I think Nikita was fantastic. He got everything that he needed out of that. If his next opponent does end up being Dylan Biggs, he needed that fight. He needed to face adversity and to be able to respond to it, because Dylan Biggs is a heavy hitter, and he's going to come at him, and he's going to put him in uncomfortable situations. So he's got to be ready for that.
Did anything surprise you in that fight?
Jack Brubaker's performance. Well, I think a lot of people said that he was rusty, that he wasn't up to it. He showed the durability that I believed that he had. But again, you don't know what you're going to get till you actually see it, and I think that he lived up to everything that he's capable of. And again, Nikita facing the adversity and showing that he can get hit, bounce back, and you know, bring the pain.
So if Dylan Biggs gets the win, and we potentially see Nikita versus Biggs, when would that fight be likely to happen?
Look, we'll get to put it on probably by November. We'll put it on this year, definitely, absolutely. Everything, touch wood, everything goes good on Wednesday night. He comes through the fight unscathed, ready to roll again. I know that, like I said, he's a hungry guy, so he'll be ready to get back in amongst it. We'll look to put that on in November. Him and Nikita, I think it'll make for a great fight.
And talk us through the card next week. Jackson Murray coming back as well.
Yeah, Jackson Murray's back. He put my head on a platter on Instagram and said that he wanted to get amongst the heavyweights. That's what I asked for. I asked for heavyweights to let us know where you're at and let's put you on. Let's get amongst it. Jackson Murray put his hand up for that, and I'm grateful for that. I want that. That's what I want. I want people to be hungry, to want to get in there and put their record on the line, put everything on the line, and that's what he's done. He's got Louis Masters, who is, if you're guaranteed for at least the first 2 rounds, that Louis Masters is gunning for your head every time. He never disappoints. So Louis Masters is always in an exciting fight. He always turns it on. Jackson Murray, he's been out of the ring for a while. But we get to see him again. He's one of the entertainers of the heavyweight division. He loves to put on a show. Let's see if he continues that form through the ring. So, again, if he can get a good performance there, I'd love to keep rolling him back out and get him amongst it with all these heavyweights.
And Vegas Larfield as well?
That's a great fight. That is... Look, that's a real chance of being fight of the night. Vegas Larfield, Albert Nolan, 2 undefeated guys. Again, young prospects putting everything on the line, and this is a place to do it. No Limit on Fox. This is where we get some great viewers tuning in to get to see people make a name for themselves and go on to that next step. So, fantastic fight. It'll be all action for the full rounds. Vegas Larfield, he's a hell of a talent, but so is Albert Nolan, and I know neither of them will want to be copping a loss. They want to protect their own. So it's really good chance of being fight of the night.
What have you sort of made of? Have you been happy with the No Limit on Fox shows? What have you sort of made of it?
Look, when we were doing it, we had our plans. We wanted a short, entertaining show on a Wednesday night when there's no other sport. People can tune in, get their boxing fix, and get to know our young up-and-coming talent. Showcase some of our current stars at the top, while also giving the opportunity to these young prospects. And I think that's what we've been able to do. I think that we've really been able to do that well in these first few shows. We saw, again, Ralph Etienne, a guy who came in as a prospect who you don't know which way he's going to go, put on a big performance, back that up on a No Limit pay-per-view card. And that's the type of thing that I want to see. That's the type of thing I want to keep doing with these shows, and I think all of these guys have that opportunity on this card in particular. We've already said Dylan Biggs has got a shot at Nikita if he can get this win. Jackson Murray, there's heavyweights out there waiting for him if he gets that win. Vegas Larfield, potential future star, as is Albert Nolan. So the winner of that could be, getting bigger opportunities going forward. So all of these fights, they're all stepping stones for bigger things, but also a chance for them to make a name for themselves to a good audience, to a good crowd.
I guess the big one, October 15th, Tszyu, Brian Mendoza. Overall thoughts on that event? Oh,
scary as hell. Brian Mendoza, he's the next best in the division, without a doubt. That's what he did to Sebastian Fundora. That puts him up there without a doubt. I know Fundora was at the top. We're talking about underneath Charlo. Fundora was at the top until Tim fought his way through to the top, and then you see what happened to Fundora. Mendoza stepped straight into that. He's an exciting fighter. He's got knockout power. He's got knockout power late too, which is a really scary thought for any fighter. So for me, this is Tim's hardest test without a doubt. And it's, you can't even call it a test. It's a genuine threat. It's a really tough fight. I'm stoked that we're able to get it on here in Australia. Because I know, the Tszyu events here in Australia, they're just building such a big buzz, and it makes for a great fight week. So I really enjoy it every time we get to put on the Tszyu show here in Australia, and I hope that we do keep getting the opportunities to do that. But he needs a big win in this fight. He needs a win. any victory is a big win, and it really puts him straight into that greater stratosphere where you are talking about them really big fights then, because I think that really cements him as, the top dog in the 154 pound division, and there's no one else that'll be coming close to him there, and then anybody else who wants to step into the 154 division, they're going to have to come to Tszyu if they really want to make a name for himself in that division.
Were there other fights on the table, or why Mendoza? Why Mendoza?
Well, it was the top of the list, to be honest, and the fact that we're able to get that made it, it made it a lot easier. He's the WBC guy, so outside of Tim and what he's doing there, you've got the chance to have an exciting fight that's going to push Tim to his limits. You see every time that Tszyu fights, he gets better, he gets more dangerous, he shows off more tools in his arsenal, and a fight against Brian Mendoza is going to make him grow even more, and he needs to do that if he wants to take on these headline guys, guys like Spence and Crawford who really, that fight was fantastic, and what they did for boxing this year, massive. So if he wants those sort of fights, there's guys in the UK, guys like Liam Smith, Chris Eubank Jr., Conor Benn, these guys who are attracting big attention. And Tim wants to be able to draw these sort of fights. Beating a guy like Mendoza puts him in that position. He puts him at the top of the tree. So anybody wants to dance on the top of the tree, they've got to come to Tszyu.
Did you see the Eubank fight on the weekend?
Dominant. Very, very dominant. He looked fantastic, and it was good to see too, because I thought Liam Smith was amazing in that first fight. I thought he did a great job there, but Chris Eubank Jr. looked so dominant in that fight, and maybe it's that little wake-up call that he needed to kick his career off again, because he's been around for a while, he's had some big fights. Having that happen to him, that could have just spurred him on to what we'll see some great fights from Chris Eubank Jr. going forward.
Now, there's no venue been announced for the Tim fight yet. How soon can we get an announcement there?
Look, we're hoping to get that locked away by this week. I know it has been a bit of a delay, a bit slow for us to announce it, but we are looking to announce it. Well, it's Wednesday. maybe early next week. Let's look, we want to announce it sooner rather than later, because we want to be able to go on sale, let everyone know what they're doing on October 15, because I know everybody will want to be there. So we look forward to enjoying that week with everybody too. So the sooner we can announce it, the quicker we can look forward to putting on some great stuff that week.
What do you think it is about the Tszyu fight weeks that make them so good? I mean, that one on the Gold Coast was probably one of my favourites.
Absolutely. I just think that the buzz that comes with it now, it's a big fight buzz, and that's what we've been looking for here at No Limit, is that every event that we put on, we want to make it feel, make people feel something. And I think that's where we're at now with the Tim fights, is that that something big's coming. He's our world champion. He's our pound for pound number one. He's the most exciting guy in Australian boxing, and that's why when he's taking a fight, we're all nervous for him. The whole of Australia is nervous knowing that he's putting everything on the line for our entertainment. And I think we're all grateful for it, but you have that buzz leading up to it, because in boxing, one punch can change everything. And while, Tim's the guy that we're all supporting, and we all believe that he will win, we also know that there's a chance. Everybody in Australia knows there's a chance that the risk that he's taken, there's a chance that he could get beat. So it creates that tension and that energy leading up to it. And Tim's just a superstar right now too. He's so comfortable in taking on that role of being our most recognised boxer and our most entertaining boxer.
Now he's in the States now training. Will he be at the Canelo Charlo fight?
Look, the plan is for him to hopefully be there. Obviously, first and foremost, he needs to have his training camp locked down. Like I said, toughest fight of his career. So training camp comes first, and if there's a chance for him to head to the fight, I know he'll be really excited to do that, because I think we'll have to shackle him if he does actually go to the fight, because I know we want to get his hands on Charlo. I know that he's excited about that fight and about the prospects of what happens with whoever wins, because Canelo is what Canelo does for boxing globally. He's unmatched. He's the face of global boxing. Tim's the face of Australian boxing right now, so I understand that responsibility that he takes with this fight. So I know Tim will be interested in it. We're all interested in it as well. We want to see what happens. We want to see if Charlo looks to come back. If not, Tim could always bulk up and jump in next.
So Crawford, Spence, Canelo, they're sort of the targets for Tim next year if he gets past Mendoza.
Oh, look, all them, any of them big name fights. I think beating Mendoza puts him in that position to be able to command big fights. You've got Crawford there, you've got Spence there. Even through the middleweight, you've got Jamal Charlo up there. If he ever fights this decade, there's a chance that Tim would love that as well. But I know he wants Jamal first, obviously. Canelo's with PBC now, and he's looking to take big fights. And anybody who gets an opportunity with Canelo takes it, because he's the face of boxing. He is the guy that you want to be in the ring with, and it's an honour for people to be able to share the ring with Canelo. So an opportunity like that comes up, would be great. But yeah, Spence, Garcia, there's a lot of really good, entertaining fights out there.
Now, last one, the UFC's on this week. Adesanya, and so two of us are in there. Thoughts on the fight?
Well, look, I think it's a great fight for Izzy. I think what we might get to see from Israel this weekend is a masterclass. When he really puts on a show, he knows how to do it. There's a buzz around town at the moment for him. He's got a really good team with him here in Australia, who work closely with him. So we're all on his side, all hoping that he'll get the win. But I get the feeling that he's going to put on a show for us, a real highlight reel type finish. And I hope the same for my boy Bam Bam. He's been ripping in this camp. He really has, and he's an Australian icon. I think in the sporting scene, what he does for the UFC here in Australia, like, he's such a popular guy. But I love him too, so I really want him to get a win. I think he deserves it, and I just want to see him land that shot once, because I know when he lands it once, it's lights out.
Thanks so much, George.
Thank you.